Welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen. It's really two programs in one. This is a series that appeals to your creative side. Food that is sumptuous stuff. How can that be? This is a program about people who want to eat healthy and reduce calories. Actually, it's about food with an aromatic quality that fills the nose. Oh, sure, but it's also about keeping my arteries clean by reducing fat. But it doesn't mean a thing if the food isn't rich and colorful. Maximize the flavor. Okay, but I must have healthy food that I can cook in minutes. I must minimize the risk. So welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen, where we get our heads together just for you. Welcome back. I'm so pleased that you joined me today. I've got a very unusual thing. It's called T.V.P, textured vegetable protein. But if you've ever tried it and didn't like it, stop right there. Don't turn off, because this is going to be created, and my friends around here have tested this and think it's terrific. Okay, come through, because this has got a whole lot more than just meets the eye. This is a two-step thing, which I call the double benefit. This is picadillo, which is one of the great dishes of Mexico. And what we're going to do is create a beautiful golden rice there. It doesn't look golden, but well, that's kind of yellowy there. And that will be studded with raisins, and it has turmeric in it, and it's brown rice, and it's gorgeous, and show you how to do that. And then we're going to put together some sautéed bananas with a touch of spice in them, which is really intriguing as a side dish. Then in the middle of there's the picadillo itself. And I don't know how to color this in, but it's red, and it's violent. It's got beautiful, well, it's not violent exactly. I mean, there's enough violence on television, isn't it? But it's got greens thrown out through it as well. It smells gorgeous. It's got a terrific updraft of wonderful aroma to it. And it's a great way of taking this incredible stuff called textured vegetable protein, which I'll explain to you all about, and making it a part of our daily life, or at least weekly. Come on, I'll show you how it's done. It is true, you know, that some of us don't have very good kitchen facilities, some of us, because some of us are homeless. And this is one of the ways that we can actually use this concept and idea, T.V.P, to help some other people. Now, the sort of things that a person who is homeless and who is outdoors cooks on is this is a cooking solid fuel like this one. And a tin can be pierced so that it allows for, you know, just slip it over the top, and it allows a windbreak and frame like this, and also a certain amount of space upon which to set the cooking equipment. Now this is it. This is kind of cute cooking equipment. I think it's brilliant. You extend the handle, and it's got a little nut there, and you just tighten it up. You take the top off, and here's the casserole dish, and there's the cup. And you've probably gone camping sometime and you've seen this, and here's a little sort of thing here. And so what we're going to do is to put that on top, use this as well, so as to give it a bit more strength. And I wanted to test it like this because I wanted to try and put together something that would be very valuable to people who were, you know, really suffering out there and needed to have a food bank provide T.V.P in something else other than its raw form, because it's not very nice to eat on its raw form. So we got makers of this product, V8 juice, and they gave a good price to the food bank, and so they give this out as a can. And I just heated that up because it takes about 10 minutes to heat this stuff in this actual equipment here. And so I just wanted to heat it up so as to show you the actual technique, what goes on. I took 3/4 of a cup of T.V.P, and I'll explain to you where you can get it in just a moment. And then got these dry ingredients, because they had to produce a kit that you could give them, and then they would be able to make it up themselves when they wanted it. So we had 5 slices of banana. Although this has been not so popular with some, and others like it, but it's actually been taken out now. But I've left it in because it was in the original. 2 teaspoonfuls for 1 serving of flaked onions, and a 1/2 teaspoonful of dried chipped garlic, and a 1/4 teaspoonful of cumin seed, powdered, and a 1/4 teaspoonful of parsley. And so all of that was just dropped in and just mixed up, just willy-nilly, like that. And when this whole mix comes to the boil, it is then just taken up and poured right on top. Just pour it on. You can actually take the dried stuff and pour it into the wet stuff. Whatever you do, it goes through a process called resuscitation. And so I just simply stir it up like that, and each of those little granules is now plumping and absorbing all of those flavors, and a little red pepper can be put on the side so as to turn this into really a hot chili. Those people that like that, and imagine a real cold night, and you've got a bedroll or something, or sleeping under newspapers. I know these things are not the happiest thing to talk about. Let's talk about it. They're real. And there's been an awful lot of this textured vegetable protein given to food banks, and they haven't really known how to be able to serve it to people. And so the idea is to try and create something. Tell you what, let's go over, whilst that's resuscitating now, let's go over to a typical food bank. This one's called the Georgetown Food Bank, and actually see how all of this is put together and explain what T.V.P is. Over to you. Thanks, Graham. Well, now, I'm here with all of these sacks. All of these sacks contain textured vegetable protein, which we've had a look at already. But here's the reason why there's so much of it, and why this is being donated as it is in such large quantities. We use a lot of soy oil, and so we take the soybeans, press the oil out of it, and that's how we get that. But what we have as a residue after the soybean has been actually pressed is this textured vegetable protein, and it is good plant protein. It's very valuable. It's a good food source. It just needs to taste better. Now, you can buy this as Hamburger Helper in the average sort of store. That's a brand name for it. It's used in a number of other products. But the way that you can get it in the pure flakes like this is a food co-op or in a health food store. They've got it. It should be very inexpensive, by the way. Okay, now, this is being put together in special little sacks for the clients when they come in and they need this food by the Rotary people, and they're really neat. Oh, they're such neat people, and they're big-hearted folks. The result of this is what happens, and this is a volunteer group from Rotary who are just putting these things together, but this is what it turns out to be. You've got a can of juice here, and you've got the actual mix itself, but the mix itself is a combination of things. Hi, Nicholas. Nicholas has been very responsibly putting in just that amount of cumin, that powdered cumin, which is really what relieves the taste of the soy taste in the soy chips themselves. You know, which have got that kind of beanie taste. Did you find that that had a beanie taste?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I understand you didn't like the banana. Yeah. I slipped up there, didn't I? Anyway, thank you, Nicholas. I've got to get about this and do something out over here, but we'll have a chat about it a little bit later. Thanks so much for packing it all together. Okay, so this goes in a bag. And so where it was that all the sacks of this stuff were upstairs and nobody had a clue what to do with it. It's not that I had such a great idea. Let's face it, cumin goes nicely with beans. But here's the point for you. Why don't you springboard on this kind of a concept? Go and find out what, people like this with great organizations, and they really have a heart for people. Find out what they've got a lot of. And then you put your ideas with theirs, and you could come up with a little packet of something which people would like just as well. Okay, just a thought. Let's get back to the cook. I'll show you another dish that you can do with T.V.P. All right. That really is a simple dish, and it's not such a difficult idea. Just the thought of trying a little T.V.P. yourself, developing a recipe, and then going along to a food bank and saying, hey, look, don't have much money, don't have much time, but I got this idea. It would be helpful. All right, put the lid on the top of that, take the spoon out of it, and just let it resuscitate with the lid on. That's always a useful thing. Very quick idea. All right, now for the other thing. The first thing we're going to do is have a look at some bananas. Now, these bananas are clearly peeled. They don't come this way. Wouldn't it be wonderful if, in our convenient lifestyle that we have nowadays, somebody came up with the idea of previously peeled bananas. Saves you the time for your be able to lavish on your family. I mean, that always gets me. I mean, you know, you save 15 seconds on something and it's supposed to do wonderful things for your family. Here we go. 1 teaspoonful of oil in the bottom of the pan on quite a low heat. Couple of bananas, just slide up, or bananas if that wasn't clear, and just push down in the pan, moved about so that they separate and can all get a chance at the oil. And going to season those in a little while, just a little later, but I'll explain how that's done. Now, onion and garlic. You might have seen this before, but let me just show it to you once again. If you take an ordinary onion like this and just cut little slices down that way, then turn it round. What was that? Oh, piece of banana. Refreshing. All right, I know what you're going to say. Rinse your hands then, Graham. So this is the politically correct cooking program. And then run the knife blade down across that. Because this onion is so brilliantly made, it makes it possible to be able to have tiny little cubes, you see? And that's what I wanted to get, just nice, fresh little cubes. There we are. And then, and this is why I like this piece of equipment. I'm so glad that 8 different manufacturers have copied what I created. There's always something very nice about that. Put in 1, that's what I was picking up. Here's 1 teaspoonful of oil in the bottom again. This has got sort of standard now between us, isn't it? You know, 1 teaspoon. And drop it down. And amazing when you think that I used to start out and I used to think that a quarter of a cup was absolutely essential. Such are the foibles of youth. And then pop in the rest of the onion. And now for the rest of the onion. Here are 2 cloves of garlic and just a quick bang on the side, little chop up, which is the second thing that does. And lift those up and pop those down. Never, never garlic first, always on top of the onions. That saves them from scorching, and not too high a temperature. This conducts heat so well that you can have to watch it. There, now it's releasing the natural oils in there and it looks just terrific. Let's have a look at this. We're going to whiz some spices up again, and by now I hope you're going to get one of these. As I told you, it's about $25, but there we are. And you'll use it and use it and use it with this kind of food. There we are, about 1.5 inches of cinnamon over the top, and here 6 cloves. And pop those on several and start whizzing them up. It's really just a coffee mill, electric coffee mill. And you'll never see it advertised as a spice mill or anything else like that. Look, that isn't burning. Good to have a reasonable stretch. And when the tinkles stop, you'll know that you've just about done it. Now here are the powdered spices, powdered cinnamon and powdered cloves, and they smell wonderful, but frankly, the moment you powder something and then package it, it starts to lose something of its quality. So that's why I like to do this at the very last moment. When you put the 2 together, I don't really like cloves. But if you like cinnamon, and cinnamon, by the way, according to statistics, is the most popular spice in the world. And so I've just simply grated that up finely, and I always put it through a sieve just in case there are any massive pieces left behind. Whiz it up some more. But this is the actual mix now. Oops. That was almost the actual mix. Let me just I need every little back of that. And this is another useful reason to have this piece of equipment. And with that amount of spice, which is half of it, pop the spice on top of the bananas, and they can do with just a little bit more heat, and they'll spice up as they go. All right, the rest of it, which is in here, which is about 1/4 teaspoonful odd, I want to put into the T.V.P. So I've got a cupful here in this part of the recipe, so we'll just pop that into the top there and stir it in. And with that also, 1/2 teaspoonful of cumin. This is the same stuff we saw before and has such an affinity for soybean and for beans generally that it's really essential. Whatever you're going to try and do yourself, try and put cumin with it as well. Okay, now let's moisten it a bit. We've got here just under a cup of water, about 7/8 of a cup. I know that sounds a little pedantic, but if you add 7/8 of a cup and then you put 2 tablespoons full of balsamic vinegar in there, you'll find it comes up to 1 cup. That's the reason. 1 cup of water to moisten 1 cup of the T.V.P. So pop that in there too. All right, and that just resuscitates. It's so dry. You go and it goes like this. Hey! You know, and the balsamic does wonderful things for it. We'll put that and let that go. Now, over here, I'm just going to put in 1 green pepper, which is very finely chopped, and just exactly the same kind of chopping as the onion had. So pop that in now, and the onion is now loosened up. It's wonderful. It's sort of translucent in color. But I don't want the same sort of thing to happen to the green pepper. I want the green pepper to remain nice and crisp and very green. Same time, got a tablespoonful of capers, you know, the little very sharp pickled seed from the Mediterranean, and it's very soft. And then 1/4 cup of dried raisins. Pop those in as well. So you've got a sweetness to it. You then take a 16-ounce can of tomato puree and pop that in. Now you've got great looking color. You've got the sweetness and you've got the sourness of the caper. And you can see the color that's been developed in here. Looking great. Then 1 tin of black beans, of the turtle beans, and they pop in on the top. Now that looks terrific. All you need to do to add to that mix then is the resuscitated T.V.P, which, by the way, has the same amount of essential protein in it, get this, as beef and chicken. It's got 18%. And so, I mean, that is just a phenomenal thing. That's the resuscitated one. Okay, now see how that all turns together? Bring the heat up underneath that, and you can go for it. Now let's have a look at the rice. Okay, long grain rice, 1½ cupfuls, and that's what's in here. And we put into there a 1/4 teaspoonful of turmeric. This is a ground root which is very, very, very bright in yellow color. And then you simply put into there 3 cups, always twice the amount of water to the rice. Put it on a boil, 25 minutes, and then strain it through one of these hand sieves like this, put water in the bottom, put it on the top, put a lid on the top of that, and keep that ready, and it takes about 15 minutes, and you're done. Okay, look at everything, seems to be right. So, we've got all of that done nicely, and here we've just got these bananas which are turned backwards and forwards so that the spicing goes all over the outside of them and gets really well mingled in with a whole lot. Perfect. Now, and the smell of the banana comes whizzing off. Now, according to the asbestos tongues of your best friends, you then sprinkle on some pepper flakes onto this one. Well, this is for camera too. And just simply stir all of that in. Let that heat drizzle through it, and you're ready to build your masterpiece. All right, plate over here, spoon, and first of all, the Piccadilly goes in the center. You can do this decoratively. Look at the portion size. That's a portion size. You can do this as a meal, just, you know, once a week perhaps. You could do a meal like this one. See the raisins? Pop down there in the top of that brown rice, which has been treated in that way, and stack it on. I mean, this is good food. This is going to stick to your ribs. And then just a little of those spiced bananas, just popped on the side. Not too many of those. They're a little side dish. Then the little Georgetown Flakey. I just want to be able to put a little of that on the side just for me. That's not for presentation. I mean, that's because I want to be able to taste everything that we do. Take a little spot of parsley over the top, and we're ready. let's go eat. It has a really terrific taste, and the updraft of the aroma, as I said earlier on, is really terrific concept. Now, let's see, actually, we're going to compare this to the picadillo, which is the standard Mexican dish of the day. And this is, of course, with a lot of beef in it and with olives in it and tomatoes. It's really delicious, you know, works very well. But here's the difference that you actually get. If you compare just the picadillo and the picadillo, we get 350 in calories. In fat, only 3 grams of fat versus the 45. Carbohydrates are 57. And the percentage of calories from fat is only 7%. I mean, truly great. Cholesterol is 0 because there's nothing there from animal fats. Sodium is at 314. Now, obviously, by the time you've added the banana and also the rice, that shoots it up in terms of calories, and that goes to 790 calories. But the fat only goes up 3, which only is to 6. So that means that the fat percentage stays about the same. So I think it is just a tremendous dish. And it really sticks to the ribs. And it's wonderful if the weather's gone a bit rough on you. And, but it's colorful too. And sorry, camera 2. Well, he says, oh, put some more in for me. No, forgotten about me. Oh, that's good. Oh, do try that. It's lovely and colorful, and there's plenty of it for the family. There's a double benefit in this, and that was the word that I wanted to get in right at the very beginning. A double benefit here is an intriguing thing, because it's really saying you can make some changes in the way that you eat with your family, which will benefit you and your health at the same time as maybe being able to reach out and help someone else who really needs it. Have a look at these numbers here. Let's say, for example, that you eat between 6 and 8 ounces of meat in a day. Would that be fair enough? I know that may be over the top, but you think about the number of times that you eat meat in some sort of way during the day and add that up and see whether I'm right or not. In fact, you could weigh it and see. Now, let's say that you bring that down to 2 ounces. Now, this is what we've been doing. On average, the dishes that we're doing at the present moment come to about 2 ounces per person per day. And if that is done, and by the word average, I mean, you take this. Now, there was no meat in this dish at all, and yet it fulfills a meaty kind of flavor. So we're using the texture of the vegetable protein instead of meat, and getting the same sort of satisfaction out of it. Maybe even the same appearance out of it almost. Okay, so we're saying that once a week, say, you may be able to have a completely vegetable meal, and that's what makes it 2 ounces average. All right. Now, let's say that, that you are going to save. You take 2 from 6, you get 4, and that's at the smallest number. You save 4 ounces a day, and you've got 4 people in your family. This is what happened with us when we had 4 people in the home. And we had £1 saved in meat a day. That's 365 pounds a year, okay? Now, the price of meat nowadays is about $3 a pound if you take it overall. And so it's over $1,000 a year. Rather than just say that to you, I really wanted to show it to you. Now, here's the point. You could split that, and you could say, okay, for my benefit, for my family, I'm going to put $500 into vegetables. I'm going to buy good vegetables, organically grown vegetables. I'm going to live it up, and that's what's going to be on my plate rather than meat. So you're going to have to spend more money on buying vegetables. So take half the savings and put it there. What about the other half? This is the double benefit. You have benefited by the virtue of the fact you've got less fat, more micronutrients, more color, more arrangement, more excitement in your food, and you've got $500 that you could share with someone who's not as well off as you are. Now, I don't know. Sometimes, perhaps, you've seen the news sometime, and you've really got a feeling inside here, I want to help that person. And maybe it's happened several times and you've never got around to it. This could give you a way of doing it. Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, look, this is such a good idea for just one day a week. why not just stir up this and make it a feature? Do it yourself for your family. God bless. See you next week.